But yeah, so what we're kind of alluding to it is that this is gonna if for some reason Sabonis does miss tonight's game. I mean, he is questionable, even though we were saying we feel good about it. This I don't know, news with him being questionable, other than missing a couple weeks, like there still could be the chance that he misses the game tonight. So, what is that? What would that mean for the Kings if they suit up tonight without Sabonis?
Who okay. Well, it's interesting because the backup center situation as it is a carousel, and they haven't stopped it and settled on any of the horses.
Now they brought in Keita just to make it.
Keita's there, and it's just he can't really stand there without fouling, and he's kind of a klutz with the ball. He still seems like he needs to iron out and kind of grow. It almost seems like he needs to grow into his body still somehow. I don't know how old is he.
I mean, he must be like 22, 23.
Yeah, it's like, which is you kind of should be doing that already. But that's like one of the biggest critiques about him is even as he looked so good in summer league, he was still so awkward and still so not fundamentally sound. And he goes out there and he fouls. He plays 4 or 5 minutes and he's got 2 fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a little bit better in his. What was that last game?
The Lakers game, or
he was okay in that.
He was decent.
He was because the bench unit came in and they were kind of getting that energy, and it almost felt like Keita was like just a bigger Metu.
Yeah, it kind of seems like what he is,
and so it's like almost like Keita is almost like a replacement for Metu if anybody. Because to be fair to Metu, it's like Metu's more of a power forward than he is a center.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's just like he's a small ball center. It was funny because like Mark Jones kept calling, he's a small 5. And I'm like, well, he's their backup 5.
I know.
he's their backup 5. But in terms of a game where Sabonis is out, knowing that that's already an issue, I mean, you're not going to start Keita or Metu. You're going to start either Holmes or Len. And I honestly, between those two, I think you probably start Holmes because Holmes is probably going to play better as a starter. That might be the issue, right? Coming off the bench.
Yeah. I mean, there was no issues with Rashawn Holmes in his Kings career until he started coming off the bench. So, I mean, maybe starting him back with Fox and the starting lineup could do him wonders. I don't know. He still hasn't convinced me yet. I know they're giving him a little more playing time, but yeah, it's really just the bench. The move to the bench, that seems to be his problem. But I don't know. He still has a lot to prove. But you also have Alex Len, who really hasn't played much this season at all. And I remember when Sabonis went down last year with that knee injury, and they kind of just shut him down for the rest of the season. The Kings had a game against the Nuggets, and I believe he actually got the start. Well, I think Holmes was out too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jokic is a bigger body. Not someone who's entirely too mobile that you have to. I mean, he's still mobile for his size, but someone Len maybe could hang out on the perimeter with if needed to, and definitely someone who can bang down low with, because that's what Jokic is going to do. So he got that start late last year, so I could see him maybe getting the start too. But again, Sabonis or Holmes weren't available that game, so I could see Holmes getting that start. I would hope it would be a good audition for him. Maybe the King, the trade deadline's coming up in 2 months now, and less than 2 months really. So maybe they're.
It would be interesting because it would be interesting to see if he could get a rhythm that way, Holmes in the starting lineup. Because I feel like it's almost interesting to think about what the strategy could be. Because you could start Holmes, play him 5 minutes in the first, then bring Len in, kind of finish up Jokic in that first quarter.
Yeah,
kind of try to attack him, maybe try to run the floor a little bit more, and then maybe have Len on tap. Maybe don't plan on going to Len early, but have it ready, and then have Len bang with Jokic. Because we talked about it at the beginning of the season. What's the purpose of having Len there? Well, Len is more of a third center. He's more of a guy that you call on upon certain matchups, maybe when you need him.
Yeah, like Jokic.
And it would be matchups exactly like Jokic or somebody that big.
Or some of those Eastern European bigs. Jokic,
get him in there, man.
Valanciunas,
there you
Nurkic,
go. Serbia and
who else?
And Ukraine. There you go.
Who do you know the Denver's backup?
I was just about to ask that question.
It was Cousins last year.
Yeah,
I don't.
They got DeAndre Jordan, right?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah.
Which is a guy who's gonna be down low.
Yeah.
Will not.
So honestly, Holmes and Len would be probably just your 1-2. I feel like because Len still work. He hadn't played. He seems like the only guy of the backup center 4, that hasn't really had a chance to play because he kind of got sick there at the end of that road trip. And then you talk about Lyles lost kind of like a step or two being out for a couple of games. I feel like it's probably even harder for a 7-footer to get his, have his, like you lose 3 or 4 days being sick. Your conditioning probably takes a way bigger hit. It's probably harder to climb back as a bigger guy. So he hadn't really been able to play it. I feel like getting some practice in I know that they practiced on Christmas Eve, probably practiced today. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure either.
And so, he's probably worked back into things and is probably ready to go again. So I wouldn't be surprised if, even if Sabonis is playing, I wouldn't be surprised if Len gets called upon for primary backup minutes, at least in these 2 games.
Yeah, and Metu against Jokic. And I'm looking at the backup centers right now for Denver, and DeAndre Jordan is on the team, and I don't know what's going on in Denver, so I'm not positive. But the Nuggets did play on Friday. That was their last game, and DeAndre Jordan had 0 minutes. Off the bench, you had Jeff Green, who might be doing center minutes, like small ball 5 kind of guy. And then you also have a guy named Zeke Nanji. I don't know. Zeke Nanji.
Didn't Denver play last night?
I didn't see.
Didn't they play
that.
Sunday? Are you on basketball reference?
They did play last night.
Or
2 nights
because Aaron Gordon had that freaking.
Oh man, yeah.
He had that freaking dunk, man.
So it looks like DeAndre Jordan didn't suit up,
which is interesting because people have been comparing that Aaron Gordon dunk to the DeAndre Jordan dunk when he was with the Clippers and he just laid out Brandon Knight.
Yeah. No, you know what the Aaron Gordon dunk reminded me of was that Anthony Edwards dunk that got called off last year. You ever seen that one?
No, I don't. If it got called off, what the hell?
It was like one of those. It got called off. I don't know if it should have been.
Was it a charge or?
Yeah, but the guy was rotating in late. His foot even might have been on the cylinder. But I don't know. No, I'm looking. DeAndre Jordan didn't play last night or 2 nights ago. Nanji played 9 minutes, and he's the only guy above a shooting guard.
How big is Najee Harris?
Najee Harris. His name's Zeke Nanji.
Oh, my bad.
Najee Harris is the running back for the Steelers.
Well, hey man, Merry Christmas. This is a sports mashup.
He is 6'9". He's a power forward, so he's 6'9". He's a forward center. He's averaging 3.7 points a game, 1.3 rebounds.
Well, we thought Metu would match up well against who's because the Raptors have their center situation is essentially a bunch of Metus.
No,
but talented. But in terms of they
got Boucher.
But in terms of what length they use length more than vertical height.
Who?
What is that Coloco guy? Do you remember the Coloco guy, dude? I don't remember his name. Now I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about.
On Toronto?
Right? Don't look at me like I'm an idiot.
Okay, maybe I'm just crazy. I know. Don't they still have Chris Boucher? Who's their starting center? Siakam. So he is their starting. Maybe I'm just the crazy one.
No, well,
I remember you're saying Coloco, and I'm just thinking Bruno Caboclo.
Well, I just said Najee Harris was on the Nuggets, so take what I say with a grain of salt, please.
I mean, Zeke Nanji, I've never heard of him.
Neither have I, which explains why. I feel like nobody's gonna dog me for that.
Let me see the Raptors. Their backup center. Okay, Chris Boucher's. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Christian Coloco.
I wasn't sure if his name was Christian.
No, you're right.
Christian Coloco.
Yeah, I remember him now.
Yeah, because he's 6'9".
You're right. He was very lanky.
Yeah.
Because so is Siakam and so is Boucher.
And that was what's so disappointing about Metu in that game. That's why that's why Holmes got minutes.
Yeah.
Metu looked like absolute.
I know, Metu kind of just.
Metu just felt. I don't know. It seemed like he just.
I think he got overconfident.
Maybe.
He's like, I'm a backup. I can start taking a hook shot a game.
I think it was in that Raptors game where he like on 2 straight possessions tried to do something and he missed one. I think he turned one over and it was just like, get him out of
Yeah.
And it's like you hear Mike Brown talk about all these things. And you hear him talk about it's like a guy's got to be out there, be able to go out there, give Domas minutes without fouling. And it's like, okay, he's talking about Keita.
Yeah.
Or in Holmes too. And then he's like talking about, he's like, they got to play within the game plan, but they got to play hard. And it's like, that's Metu because he doesn't always play within the game plan. He plays outside himself.
I feel like he tells like, he just grabs all the backup centers before the game. He's just like, just don't fuck up. You know? I feel like that's one thing he said.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't you shoot the ball.
Hands up on defense.
Yeah, hands up.
So stay out of the restricted area, but protect it.
You're not going to score.
You're not. Unless you're getting alley-oops, you're going to earn it.
Unless you're getting a wide open alley-oop in transition.
But Mike Brown made a great point. It's like, you're playing 4 to 6 minutes a half. That's not a lot of time. You better be playing hard.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that happened to Metu is Metu is playing so hard. You talk about him getting overconfident, even more so than him taking shots that are out of his, outside himself, I guess, to use that again. It's just like he kind of lost a step energy-wise.
Yeah,
you know?
He did, yeah.
And I feel like part of it had to do with the kind of bench going through a bit of a swoon. But we even were pointing out at that time, it's like, well, that just shows that Metu is kind of he floats in the top.
Yeah.
When the water rises, he rises with them. And when it sinks, he's down with them. He's not really going to change anything.
Yeah.
He just goes with the flow, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. To bring it back to that like Nuggets thing, I mean, even if Metu matches up well with the backup center or whatever, I feel like they're still going to...
Zeke Nanji.
Yeah, Najee Harris. At least it wasn't some made-up name. At least it was a real person.
That's fair.
But, the center situation would be interesting without Sabonis. But I feel like it would be really, really, really interesting to see Holmes start and just see what happens.
I would like to see that too. Just to see if maybe that changes something within him.
And maybe the team like Charlotte sees that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we could actually use that. Oh, he's still got it in him.
Yeah. And he does. It's just, yeah. I really would hope it would unlock him. And this is just still all maybes because Sabonis is questionable. So
who's Utah's center?
Is Mark Hannon their center or is he their power forward?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it that rookie? The rookie at Auburn? They got him in a trade in the Donovan Mitchell trade. And I think he plays a lot, and I think he's been pretty impressive.
The Donovan Mitchell trade.
Maybe I'm making it up, but the guy's name is Kessler, I think is his last name.
Kessler. No, I don't know. We clearly know the NBA very well.
We know the Kangs.
We know, yeah.
Which is what we're talking about most of the time. But yes, as we venture out.
Yeah, we started talking about
Najee Harris. I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield.
Let me see. Let me look at the Jazz real quick. Last game.
We got the Jazz.
Stalling some time. Did they play on Friday? It doesn't.
Well, figure it out, Tony.
I'm looking.
But my point was like maybe you see how Domas does in these 2 games where he plays against the other great center in the Western Conference.
Right. Kessler.
Yeah. What's his first name?
W.
Oh, Walker Kessler.
Is it?
I think so.
Hey, well, let me click on it.
Yeah, I remember because he was like one of the you had Duran and Mark Williams were like the top 2 centers, and then like Kessler was like the 3rd guy, I think, the back of the first round.
There.
And Utah ended up with him.
Rudy Gay's on this team.
Wow.
I can't believe Rudy Gay's in the league.
Where's Hassan Whiteside?
I don't think he's on a team.
Wasn't he on the Jazz?
Caitlin Horton-Tucker's on the Jazz?
I don't know, dude. That team kind of got it seemed like guys just landed there.
What? When?
And then who's the Finnish kid?
Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
I like Markkanen's having a year.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's the guy you got to be worried about. I really wanted the Kings to get him. I forget what draft that was, but Kessler. He last game 12 points, 14 rebounds, and he doesn't even have like a bio on Bleacher Report. Like, you click on Jordan Clarkson, like it'll pop up. Like,
Non-lottery pick, man. You gotta love it.
yeah. Well, I mean, okay. I couldn't tell you how tall he is.
I think he's 6'11", 7 feet,
Okay.
something like that. He's a good bodied center.
Okay. So
Runs the floor decently for his size and protects the paint.
You know him?
I think that's what I read in his draft profiles. He just kind of would pass him up. Sometimes.
Walker Kessler, you say?
Yeah.
And Nanji, Zeke Nanji?
Zeke Nanji. Yeah, not Nanji Harris.
Walker Kessler. Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, because you're not going to start. Yeah, he's a handsome guy. Walker Kessler.
Walker Kessler from Atlanta, Georgia. 7 feet.
Yeah, 7-footer.
He's first round. Give him some credit.
Hell yeah.
Pick 22.
He's a good player.
Yeah, Auburn. He called it. So, yeah, no idea about this guy's game. Like John does. His analysis.
Yes. If I don't know what the heck's going on in the rest of the NBA, I know what's going on, I guess, with the kids out of Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, I keep getting older. They stay the same age. No. But I mean, like, I kind of like talking about this hypothetical. No, I don't like talking. I don't want to say that because people are going to be up in arms over that. I don't like talking about it, but it's fun to talk about. It's interesting. It's thought provoking to think about what would happen if Sabonis wasn't there.